Gacchaminiti namane namaste. Saraswati deve gauravani pacharine. Nirvisesa sanyavare paschati rasatarine. How many of you have been to Vrindavan? Well, let's put it this way. How many of you have not been to Vrindavan? Only one. So in a sense, you already understand Radha because you've been to her place. In Krishna consciousness, some things we understand by experience. You can talk about Radharani's love, or you can talk about Radharani's compassion. You can talk about Maya, you can talk about Krishna's spiritual energy. But it's all very theoretical. And if you go to Vrindavan, then you can experience Radharani's compassion. You can experience the personification of the internal potency. When you went to Vrindavan, did you feel something special? Like this place is different? Yes? Is there any place on earth like Vrindavan? I haven't seen. I've traveled all over India. I've never seen anything like Vrindavan. Shh. Germans make better mic stands. No, this whole thing here. This is supposed to tighten this.
No, this one is too high. Should be better.
Oh. Bogus. Anyway, well, it'll work this way. Okay. She's smart. Figured it out. So. No, this thing is not supposed to move, and this is supposed to tighten it, but it's not tightening it. Somehow it doesn't hold it. Let's try it this way. Then, no, it's the whole thing. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. So, I have a nice story for you. There was a group of students who went to Vrindavan. Not because they were interested in Vrindavan, but because their teacher is a devotee. And they were coming to do a photographic essay. It was a photojournalism class. So you can imagine these are just ordinary students who know nothing about Krishna and actually really don't have any interest. So there's one devotee, friend of mine, named Gopal, and he took them on tour every day to different places in Vrindavan. So there you are. We have you in the picture now. Yeah. There was this unembodied voice. Nobody could see where it's coming from. Now we can see. So, on the last day, they all met with Gopal and said, Gopal, we have a question for you. And remember, these are just ordinary average American students. He said, Gopal, what is this special feeling we're getting while we're in Vrindavan. What is it?
佢話我哋喺 Vrindavan 裏面咧有一種好與別不同、好特別嘅感覺，究竟係咩嚟嘅？
Even they were feeling it.
就算係佢哋都能夠感受
So
到。
Vrindavan is the place of Radharani.
Vrindavan 咧係屬於 Radharani 嘅地方。
And Radharani is the personification of Krishna's internal potency, Swarup Shakti.
咁 Radharani 咧亦都係咧 Krishna 呢個內在喜樂嘅能量嘅人。
So that they were experiencing that internal spiritual potency
所以咧佢哋
just by being in Vrindavan.
呢一個內在嘅呢一個靈性嘅能量，當佢哋喺 Vrindavan 嘅時候，
That is the gift of Radha.
呢個就係 Radha 帶俾佢哋嘅能量。
So they were experiencing some love, some seed of what real love is.
所以佢哋能夠去到品嚐少少呢一種愛嘅種子。
One time Prabhupada explained the meaning of the Maha Mantra.
有一次咧，聖帕巴咧去到解釋 Mahamantra 嘅意
He
思。
said, "Oh Radha, oh Krishna, I'm tired of serving Maya."
咁有一次聖帕巴咧去到解釋 Mahamantra 意思，講到 Oh Radha, Oh Krishna， 我已經咧對於佢服務咧 Maya 感到好疲倦。
For many, many lifetimes I've been the servant of Maya.
好多生生世世咧，我咧為 Maya 去到服務。
Now I want to serve you.
而家咧，我想為你服務。
So change the energy. Turn the switch from Maya to Yogamaya.
咁咧，所以
Mahamaya to Yogamaya.
所以拍咗個掣，由呢一個 Mahamaya 咧轉做 Yogamaya。
So we're praying to Radharani, who is the personification of the internal spiritual potency, that we can get the shelter of that potency, and that potency will bring us to Krishna.
咁所以咧，我哋向 Radharani 嘅呢一位佢係呢個內在嘅靈性能量嘅人格化啦，希望咧可以託庇於呢一個能量，然之後請 Radharani 咧將我哋咧提升起嚟。
Because if we come under the influence of the external energy, that's an expansion of Radharani. The material nature is an expansion, and under that energy we struggle in the material world.
咁我哋而家咧係處於呢一個外在嘅能量，係 Radharani 嘅一個擴展出去嘅能量。當我哋喺呢個能量當中嘅時候咧，我哋就會受苦，就會掙扎。
So it's so interesting that Lord Chaitanya, when he came, he was the personification of Radharani's compassion. That level of compassion was needed to get into the hearts of people in Kali Yuga.
所以好有意思嘅係就當主取親人嚟到呢一個世上嘅時候咧，佢係 Radharani 嘅仁慈嘅人格化，所以咧需要呢一個嘅化身先至能夠進入人嘅內心。
And people in Kali Yuga are not really qualified to receive what Lord Chaitanya gave, because he gave something that was never given before.
咁所以喺卡里年代嘅人咧，其實係冇一個資格啦，去到接受咧主取親人俾我哋嘅呢一個嘅東西。
He was giving love of Krishna in the mood of Radharani and the gopis and all the residents of Braja, which is the highest form of love ever known on this planet.
咁因為呢個前所未有嘅主取親人佢帶俾我哋嘅係對 Krishna 嘅愛，而呢一個愛咧係 Radharani 木王姑娘所承載嘅愛，係最高嘅一個愛。
So that's Radharani's nature.
呢個 Radharani 嘅佢嘅
If
本
you
質。
ask for mercy, she's very merciful. She'll give it to you even if you're not qualified.
咁所以呢個係 Radharani 嘅仁慈咧。就算我哋冇資格嘅話，我哋想得到個 Radharani 佢都會因為好仁慈，所以佢都會俾。
So this love that she's giving,
所以佢所給予嘅呢一種愛，
Mahaprabhu came to give it.
Mahaprabhu 咧嚟到將呢個愛帶俾我哋。
And it's said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that this Chirada Dattam Nijagupta Vitam, this is a confidential treasury house that was never given before, or never given in such a long time that it's like we just say it was never given before.
咁所以喺永恆的主菜解行經裏面去提到呢一種嘅愛咧，係可以話係前所未有嘅，之前都未出現過嘅。
Generally, when people approach God, they don't experience the love that Lord Chaitanya was giving.
咁所以呢個係一種好機密嘅愛嚟嘅。咁一般人咧去接觸神嘅時候咧，佢冇辦法咧感受到主催產人俾我哋嘅呢一種嘅嗰種嘅愛。
Why do people approach God? Approach God.
咁點解人咧要去到親近神咧？
They're in distress.
因為痛苦，
So they ask God,
於是佢哋就問神：
help me with whatever it is I need.
我需要啲乜嘢？請你幫助我。
Or they're not in distress and they ask God, upgrade, give me a business class instead of economy.
咁所以咧，
Upgrade my material life.
或者佢哋會想去提升佢哋嘅呢一個物質嘅生活啦，就由呢一個經濟級咧提升到呢一個嘅商務級、商務艙。
And he can give so much more than a business class upgrade.
咁當然啦，神能夠給予嘅咧係比呢一個商務艙嘅更加多。
He can put you on a rocket ship to another planet.
佢可以咧帶你咧去坐呢一個火箭去到另外一個星球。
Actually,
係。
the heart is hankering for love.
但其實呢個心咧，其實係揾緊愛。
So no matter what we get, or no matter what God gives us, if we don't get love, the heart still will hanker for that and won't be satisfied.
咁所以無論得到啲咩好，或者神給予我哋啲咩都好，但冇嗰種愛嘅話咧，始終都係喺度渴求緊一啲嘢。
So Lord Chaitanya decided, in this Kali Yuga, we're going to give love to everybody. And we're going to give love like no one's ever seen before. We're going to give the love that Radharani has. We're just going to dish it out freely to everybody.
咁所以主催產人嚟到咧，佢就決定咧係免費咁樣去到派發呢一個嘅愛，係以前從來未有派發過。
Because that's Radharani's mood.
呢個咧就係 Radharani 佢嘅心水。
I used to live in Vrindavan.
我有一段時間咧係住喺 Vrindavan。
And sometimes I would see people come to Vrindavan and they looked almost like ghosts, like devotees, but it looked like they had lost their Krishna consciousness. So to me, they looked kind of like ghosts.
咁有時候咧，我去到 Vrindavan 嘅時候咧，見到奉獻者啦，但係奉獻者嘅樣咧睇落去好似鬼一樣，佢哋失去咗咧 Krishna 之覺。
They just looked really bad.
就係個面色睇嚟好差。
They looked like they had given up their Krishna consciousness, or their Krishna consciousness had been taken away by Maya in some way or another.
睇落去咧，好似佢哋已經放棄咗 Krishna 之覺啦，或者咧 Maya 咧將佢哋嘅Krishna 之覺咧攞走。
They kind of looked like a patient that was about to die, that was going into a hospital to see if the hospital could save them.
所以佢哋睇落咧，好似一個垂死嘅病人啦，去到個醫院度睇下個醫院可唔可以救佢哋。
And you could see that this devotee had been struggling with Maya and felt my only hope is to come to Vrindavan and get shelter here.
咁所以呢一啲嘅奉獻者咧，同 Maya 咧去到掙扎啦，最後咧佢只能夠咧去到 Vrindavan 度咧，去到托地於 Vrindavan。
So you'd see them coming in with their bags, morose face, almost like an anxiety, thinking this is my last hope, like a person maybe going to the hospital with a critical disease and wondering, am I going to get cured?
咁所以好似有一個人咧，佢得到好似絕症咁樣啦，咁咧去到醫院嗰度咧，就希望可以揾到呢一個醫治嘅方法，所以嗰啲奉獻者去到 Vrindavan 嘅時候，成個樣都好一面受用。
And then, like 2 or 3 days later,
2-3日之後，
complete transformation.
就完全嘅改變咗，
Happy,
好開心，
spiritually strong,
靈性好強壯，
satisfied,
好滿足，
face is bright.
能夠發光有光彩。
That's the power of Radha's mercy.
呢個咧就係 Radharani 佢嘅仁慈力量。
Let's look at what Prabhupada did.
咁我哋睇下 Prabhupada 嘅成就。
The people that Prabhupada was preaching to seemed unlikely to become devotees.
睇落去咧，Prabhupada 向嗰啲傳教向佢哋傳教嗰啲人，好似唔會成為奉獻者。
Less likely to spread Krishna consciousness.
更加咧唔好話係去到傳播 Krishna 之覺。
Just imagine it's like 1960.
我哋想象一下係
and you meet Srila Prabhupada,
你遇見聖帕合
and let's say you're an adult
你係
in
一個
India,
喺印度，
and you say, Bhaktivedanta Swami, what are you doing? And he says, I'm going to go to America and make disciples, and then they'll go around the world and make Krishna consciousness and they'll become gurus. That wouldn't make any sense to you. You think that's impossible, right?
係咪？如果你係當時係一個印度嘅一個印度人啦，然之後你問Bhaktivedanta Swami 咁樣佢，你去美國做乜嘢啊？咁帕瓦就同你講，我去美國，然之後咧我要去到收門徒啦，佢哋咧就再將 Krishna 之國傳播開去，係冇聽落去係冇可能發生。
And that's what happened.
但係真係發生。
You know, devotees who would join a year later would go somewhere and open a temple. And people would become devotees because of their preaching and their presence. This is inconceivable.
咁所以奉獻者嚟到咧，成為咗門徒咧，之後咧就去咗另外一個地方咧，就開始開一啲嘅中心啦。
And that was all happening by mercy.
跟住佢哋將 Krishna 之國傳播開去咧，呢啲都係一藉住仁慈先至能夠發生。
So our scriptures teach that if you get mercy, anything can happen.
所以我哋嘅經典去講到，如果你得到仁慈嘅話咧，任何事都可以發生。
And if you don't get mercy, you can work your whole life to become spiritually advanced, then nothing's going to happen.
但係如果你冇得到仁慈嘅話，你可能一世一生都好努力咁樣去到，希望得到進步，但係都冇辦法做到。
So the attitude of a devotee is, Krishna, I want mercy, but I'm completely unqualified.
所以一位奉獻者佢嘅心水咧就係 Krishna，我希望得到仁慈，但我完全冇資格去得到。
It's like I go to Harvard and say, I want to go to college here. And they'll say, well, what are your qualifications? And you say, I don't have any. I just want mercy.
就好似你想去哈佛大學嗰度讀書，然之後你問你有啲咩嘅資格，跟住我冇，我就係想。
So Krishna consciousness is, it's kind of like the Harvard or Oxford of spirituality.
咁所以咧 Krishna 之國咧就好似我哋呢個世界裏面講劍橋大學啦、牛津大學啦呢一個嘅靈性。
And if Radharani is the admissions agent for Harvard or Oxford, then we'll get in. Because she's very kind. She'll say, come, we'll give you a chance.
咁如果 Radharani 咧係負責收生嗰個喺呢個哈佛大學牛津大學嘅負責收生嘅話咧，佢係好仁慈，佢就你入嚟讀書入嚟。
So a devotee knows that I don't have the qualification to be a devotee of Krishna, to love Krishna. That's something extremely difficult and rare.
咁所以奉獻者知道咧，根本自己係冇呢一個知道咧，藉住 Radharani 嘅仁慈咧，我哋咧能夠去到服務 Krishna。
The spiritual master is a representative of Radharani.
領聖導師咧係 Radharani 嘅代表。
Because spiritual master is giving the mercy of Radharani and the mercy of Mahaprabhu.
咁所以領聖導師咧係給予咧 Radharani 同埋 Mahaprabhu 嘅仁慈。
So one time Prabhupada said that we can ask Krishna to accept us, but we're not qualified. So we actually are not even qualified to ask to be accepted.
咁有一次聖帕巴話：我哋可以咧去問 Krishna 咧請佢接受我哋啦，但係我哋連問 Krishna 接受我哋呢個資格其實都冇。
Prabhupada said, I have no right to ask Krishna to accept me.
其實我係冇任何嘅權力咧，權利咧係去到咧請 Krishna 去接受。
That's kind of scary, isn't it?
係咪好恐怖？
You imagine, you wake up in the morning, you get a phone call from a devotee, and the devotee says, oh, I just heard Prabhupada said, you have no right to ask Krishna to accept you.
咁譬如朝頭早起身，然之後奉獻者打俾你，同你講話，帕巴同你講話，你冇權利去到要請求 Krishna 去接受你。
But fortunately, the lecture continued, and the good news came that by the mercy of the Guru, you ask the Guru, will you ask Krishna to accept me? and then Krishna will accept you.
咁跟住之後繼續講堂課啦，咁咧就係講到我哋可以去到請求 Guru 啦，去到請 Guru 咧去問 Krishna 啦，可唔可以接受我哋啦？接住 Guru 嘅人士咧 ，Krishna 會願意接受我哋。
One time Prabhupada said,
有一次聖帕帕講到
"You just hold on to my lotus feet.
你捉住我嘅蓮花足，
I have the key to the back door of the spiritual world, so I'll get you in the back door."
咁咧我有咧去進入呢一個靈性世界後門嘅鎖匙，咁我會俾你後門嗰度入嘅。
Because I don't think you're qualified to get in the front door.
因為我諗你冇資格係有前門入，
So I'll get you in the back door because I have the back door key.
咁你後門入啦，我有個後門嘅鎖匙。
In Alachua, on Prabhupada's disappearance day, a devotee told the story.
咁喺阿拉楚呢個美國一個城市啦，咁咧奉獻者咧講一個故事。
Prabhupada, will we all go back to Godhead with you?
咁奉獻者同泡泡講，泡泡我哋同你一齊翻去呢一個神手。
And Prabhupada said, yes, the residents of Vaikuntha will fly over Goloka and they'll see, oh, what a wonderful spiritual master and wonderful disciples.
咁然之後喺呢一個維昆塔嘅居民啦，然之後就飛過咧呢個古魯格，然之後望到咧，哇！呢一個呢位靈性導師同佢嘅門徒咧，真係奇妙啦。
What's so interesting about this?
咁有咩特別咧？呢番説話
Is that the scriptures say Krishna will give you whatever you want very easily. If you want material things, you pray to him, he'll give you. You want liberation, and you want to go to higher planets, he'll just say, yeah, take it, no problem. Get out of here, don't bother me, just take it.
咁所以喺經典裏面咧講到 Krishna 咧，如果你想要啲物質嘅嘢，你想去到啲更加高嘅星球，甚至係解脫嘅話咧，你可以佢好容易就俾你㗎啦。你俾咗你咁，你就唔好再煩住佢。
Daddy, can I have $20? I want to buy this. Please, give it to me. Okay, take it, get away, don't bother me. I'm busy.
爸爸可唔可以俾20蚊我？跟住爸爸就你好啦，俾20蚊你唔好煩住。
Something like that.
就好似咁。
Sense gratification, liberation. Oh, you want that? It's like he tells his secretary, give it. Go in the other room. It's in the closet. Give it to him. Well, he doesn't care about it.
佢一啲都唔在意嘅，佢就叫秘書將啲錢俾佢嘅。
And then someone comes and says, "Can I have love?"
呢啲就係佢哋要求感官看樂或者有一個人嚟到話，可唔可以俾我愛？
And Krishna says, "Oh, I just can't give everybody love just like that.
咁 Krishna 就話：我唔可以個個都俾愛。
I'm controlled by love.
因為咧我受愛。
If I give you love, you'll control me.
如果我俾咗你愛嘅話，你就
I'll be a dancing puppet in your hands if I give you love."
如果我將愛俾你嘅話咧，我就會成為你好似一個跳舞嘅木偶一樣。
So the Shastra says that is something Krishna does not give very easily.
咁所以經典裏面講就係呢一樣嘢 ，Krishna 咧唔會咁輕易咧去到給予。
And what are we going to do? It's Kali Yuga. We're not qualified to get that love by our own effort. So now we're kind of stuck. He doesn't give it unless we're qualified, and we're not qualified.
咁所以喺卡利年代，我哋可以點樣做咧？因為我哋就好似棘住咗喺中間咁樣，我哋想得到呢個愛，但係我哋又冇兌現嘅資格。
Kya hai? Now what? What do we do now? Don't live, don't die. Damned if you do. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
咁你做又唔係，唔做又唔係。
And then Mahaprabhu comes.
然之後馬克布就嚟到。
Says, forget it all.
你唔使呢啲嘢。
Everything's changing.
所有嘢都會改變。
We're distributing love of God.
我哋而家咧將
It's for
神
everybody.
嘅愛咧派發俾所有人。
What kind of love?
呢種係咩愛嚟？
Not 93 octane, 100 octane.
係
Super love.
100嘅呢一個超級嘅愛。
Love like Radharani has.
呢一種愛咧就係 Radharani 所擁有。
And nobody has love like Radharani.
冇人可以擁有好似 Radharani 一樣嘅。
But that same mood will distribute it.
但係咧，我哋會派發咧呢一個同樣嘅心
And we'll educate you about that love.
然之後咧教導你呢一種嘅愛。
Will bring eternal associates down to this planet, and they'll write books about that love, so you can understand it.
咁我會將呢一個永恆嘅同伴啦，將佢哋咧帶到嚟呢一個世上咧，然之後會寫一啲書咧去到描述呢一啲嘅。
We'll bring gopis from the spiritual world, and they'll become sadhus, and they'll write books about prema.
然之後我會將牧牛姑娘咧帶到呢一個世界啦，佢哋會成為聖人啦，去到咧寫呢一啲嘅書籍啦，去描述呢個 prema。
We'll distribute this, and who will be distributed to? Anybody and everybody who's willing to take it.
然之後咧將呢個知識派發出去啦，邊個可以去到接受咧？就係任何人都可以攞到得。
I was just reading before class, Prabhupada said, the mercy that the Mahaprabhu is giving, it's everywhere, and you just have to take it.
咁我喺講呢一堂課之前咧，我睇到聖卡巴有一句説話咧，就係Mahaprabhu所派發嘅人士咧係無所不在嘅，你只需要去到攞就得嘅。
So this whole movement is really under the jurisdiction of Radharani.
咁所以整個運動咧都係由 Radharani 咧係去到掌控住。
And we understand that the purpose of spiritual life is to get a little drop of that love that Radharani has.
咁我哋都明白靈性靈修啦嘅目的咧，就係希望能夠得到一滴 Radharani 嘅愛。
And that little drop of love will drive us crazy.
就係嗰一滴已經令到我哋瘋狂。
We cannot imagine the happiness that little drop will give us.
我哋冇辦法去想像嗰一滴 Radharani 嘅愛能夠帶俾我哋嘅快樂。
We cannot imagine the ecstasy,
我哋冇辦法想像嗰一種嘅
the realization, the satisfaction
嗰種嘅覺悟啦，同埋滿足。
that a little drop of that love gives us.
就係嗰一滴嘅愛能夠帶俾我哋。
There's nothing in this world that you can get that we compare to it.
喺呢個世界上面冇任何嘢可以同呢一滴嘅愛去到比較。
There's one problem.
但有一個問題。
Who knows the problem?
係咩問題？
It's kind of a big problem.
係一個好大嘅問題。
Who knows the problem?
係咩問題？
Something very special is available. It's never been given before.
咁呢樣嘢咧係非常之特別嘅，以前從來未見嘅。
It surpasses all the Vedas. Whatever the Vedas can give, this is deeper.
咁所以
Greater, higher.
偉大經能夠俾到嘅呢一個咧係更加高、更加深刻。
And anybody can get it
而且任何人都可以得到。
without any qualification.
你冇資格嘅，冇任何資格都可以得到。
Because Radharani is so merciful.
因為 Radharani 係如此嘅。
So what's the problem?
係咩問題咧？
It's stated in the Shishastakam what the problem is.
咁咧喺八分規裏面有講到嘅。
Yeah. We don't want it.
個問題就係我哋唔想要。
We want the external energy,
我哋想呢個外在。
not the internal energy. We want Durga's kingdom.
我哋想多嘅女神嚟到我哋呢度。
That's our misfortune.
呢個係我哋嘅不幸。
So Lord Chaitanya, in his teachings called Shishastakam, said, I'm so unfortunate, Durdaivam, because I have no anuraga, I have no attachment for chanting Hare Krishna.
咁所以Chaitanya Mahaprabhu喺八分規裏面講到，我係非常之不幸嘅，因為咧我係對於念誦聖名咧係冇呢一個依附品嘅。
It's painful.
係好痛苦嘅。
So on this day, this is a wonderful day to get the mercy of Radharani.
咁今日咧係非常之好嘅日子咧，去到獲得 Radharani 嘅日子。
And we pray to Radharani.
我哋向 Radharani 祈禱。
I may be not qualified,
我冇資格，
Maybe I don't even have the desire.
我甚至連我個慾望都冇。
But today, Jagannatha, Mother of the Universe, I pray
但係今日咧，我向 Radharani 嘅呢個宇宙之母去到祈求，
for your mercy
祈求你嘅仁慈，
that I become attracted
讓我咧係受吸引，
to Krishna,
去受 Krishna 吸引。
that I want it. I want love,
我渴望呢一種愛，
that I give up my lust, my greed, my envy and jealousy.
讓我咧去放棄所有呢啲嘅色慾啦、貪婪啦、嫉妒。
And Radharani's mercy is so powerful. She can change our hearts.
Radharani 嘅仁慈咧係非常之有力量，佢能夠咧去到轉化我哋嘅心，
She can change our desires.
甚至咧改變我哋嘅慾望。
Otherwise, what happens to us?
如果唔係咁樣嘅話，我哋會發生咩事咧？仲係咩？
We come back again
咁我哋又再犯，
and we do the same thing over.
又再重複做同樣嘅事。
I heard Prabhupada in 1972. He made a prediction.
1972年嘅時候咧，做咗一個預言。
He told his disciples, in 1972 I was 22, so most devotees were like between 21 and 23.
咁所以當時我係22歲，咁當時你都21、22。
And he said, don't take another birth in the material world.
咁咧，帕巴堂對住我哋講話，唔
Because
好再喺呢個物質世界投生，
Because it's Kali Yuga
因為係卡利年代，
and things are going to get very, very bad.
啲境況會越嚟越差。
So let's do the math.
所以計一計條數。
Let's say the average person in that room would live another 50 to 60 years.
咁喺呢一間房間裏面嘅人咧，可能再可以活多50、60歲。
The 50-year mark is in 4 years.
54歲。
When Prabhupada said, don't take another birth,
咁唔好再翻嚟啦。
most of the people he was talking to, in a few years, let's say, okay, we'll be liberal. Within 10 years, most of those people won't be alive.
咁佢話過多10年之後啊，大部分人唔會再喺度。
So he's saying something like, okay, let's just round it off. By the year 2030, it's going to be so bad that all of you sitting in this room, you don't want to take another birth, because if you take another birth, you'll take another birth around 2030, and you'll have to do it again, and it's going to be really, really bad. So just get out of it. Get out, go back. You have the opportunity. Do it now.
咁所以正派同當時個房間裏面奉獻者講話，要快啲離開啦，唔好再翻嚟，唔好再投生啦。去到2030年嘅時候，你哋可能就係即係嗰陣時個環境非常之惡劣，你嗰一年就即係如果投生嘅話，就要再即係嗰段時間再投生嚟呢個世界。
So we understand that anything is possible by the mercy of Radharani.
咁我哋要明白就係藉住 Radharani 嘅仁慈咧，任何事都可以發生。
Don't ever say, I can't be Krishna conscious.
任何事都有可能，唔好講話我冇辦法得到 Krishna 知。
That may be true, but by the mercy of Radharani, it's no longer true.
可能的而且確係咁樣，但係得到 Radharani 嘅仁慈嘅話咧，就係可以做得到。 So spiritual life is based on getting mercy of Guru. 咁所以咧，靈性嘅生命咧係建基於咧靈性導師。
You know, you go to Guru and you say, please give me blessings. Please give me blessings.
如果我哋去到靈性導師嗰度，然之後請求靈性導師，我請你
That's common, right?
祝福。
And most people, what blessings do they want?
咁一般人咧都會得到佢哋想要嘅祝福。
They want material blessings.
佢哋想得到啲物質嘅祝福。
There's a funny story.
有個
Prabhupada was traveling on a train in India in 1971 with his brahmacharis.
咁喺1971年嘅時候咧，帕巴喺印度咧喺架火車上面啦，同埋佢一啲嘅招受生嘅門徒。
This movement was young, so a lot of people didn't know him, but some men could see he's a genuine sadhu, and so they asked for blessings.
咁有啲人咧睇得出咧，聖巴巴咧係一位真正嘅呢個聖人啦，於是咧就行前想得到祝福。
So Prabhupada said, so what kind of blessings do you want?
於是聖巴巴就問佢哋啦：你想要啲乜嘢嘅祝福？
Because there are all kinds of blessings, right? It's like Walmart. You have Walmart in Hong Kong? It's like Walmart, you know? No? Big department store. You know, every aisle has something. So it's like, what kind of blessing you want? So they were saying, like, we want health, good education for the children, prosperity. Yeah, natural things we all need. And basically, Prabhupada said, I don't stock that in my store. I don't have those blessings. He said, well, what blessings do you have? He said, you see these brahmacharis? If I give you blessings, you'll become a brahmachari. And they quickly, thank you Swamiji, and they quickly left. So, the real blessing is love. Love of God. And that's what the Guru gives. And that's what Radharani wants to give, so the Guru gives. So why don't we stop here? And maybe some of you can share some of your realizations of Radharani. Maybe you have some experience, or you've prayed to Radharani, you have some realization of her mercy that you can share. Would you like to do that? Anybody would like to share something? Or share anything you like about Radharani? We can pass the microphone. How Radharani has impacted your life? Oh, I'll start out first. I'll tell a story. We always heard, we were told, if you want service, you pray to Radharani. So when I was a temple president, in the very early days of my career, I told all the devotees, pray to Radharani for service. So for a couple of days we prayed for service. And then somehow or other, 3 days later I said, we're going to refurbish the whole temple. Like fix it, we're going to fix up the whole temple. So maybe for the next 10 days, we were working at least 12 hours a day fixing up the temple. Maybe some devotees were working longer hours, like more like 15 hours a day. It was this huge marathon. We redid the temple and everything. It was just interesting that I decided 3 days after we were praying that we should fix up the temple. So then I realized we were all praying for more service, and we got a lot of service. The next 10 days we had more service than we could handle. That's my Radharani story. Someone else have a story? Or a realization? Yeah, you take this one. If you speak in English, you take this one. Well, actually, yeah. Either way, you take this one.
Thank you.